Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex.
And I'm Jay.
There he is. And we have some news updates for you from around the land of smiles today. It's Friday, March 7th.
It is.
Now, today, we'll be talking about illegal condo rentals tied to prostitution in, guess where?
Nana.
A bizarre dispute involving a beloved Optimus Prime statue, Transformers Unite, and a little later, some intriguing updates in the conviction of pro-democracy advocates in Hong Kong. Got to sprinkle in some serious, huh? But first, we're back here in Phuket, where a really strange story happened. A foreign tourist was found dead on Kata beach in Phuket after sunbathing.
Whoa.
Weird one. A foreign female tourist around 50 years old was found dead under a beach umbrella on Kata beach in Phuket on Wednesday afternoon. Lifeguards and police arrived at the scene near the Kata municipality office after a vendor noticed she had been motionless for a very long time. The woman was lying face down with red rashes on her back and legs, but no signs of struggle or assault were found. A preliminary medical check suggested she had been deceased for some time. Authorities are working to determine her identity and cause of death.
Yeah, sounds very mysterious, but speculation here, but it gets very hot, and it might just be heat stroke.
Could be. 50 years old, definitely too young. Also, kind of sad that there was nobody there to check on her. It ended up being a vendor who was walking by. I believe the timing was he saw her at 10:30, sunbathing, moving, and then he noticed probably 3 hours later she had not moved at all and started having these rashy looking outbreaks, even green marks and things like that were said. So a bit of a mystery, but also kind of a bummer for all parties involved. Obviously for her, hopefully they can identify her, because that's another. I'm sure the family wants to know. Anyways, be careful to everybody.
All right. Our next story talks about MP, an MP who exposes illegal condo rentals and prostitutions in Nana. Prostitution in Nana. Who knew? An MP has raised concerns about illegal daily condo rentals in Bangkok's Nana area, alleging that a condominium is being used for prostitution and short-term stays, disturbing permanent residents. Complaints include foreign nationals hosting loud parties, drug use, and security risks. MP Pantira has urged amendments to the Condominium Act to give owners more control and called for stricter enforcement of rental laws, including Airbnb regulation and tax compliance. He also warned that allowing foreigners to own up to 75% of condos could marginalize Thai residents. Authorities are urged to conduct random inspections to curb illegal activities.
Wow. Seems like it's a common thing. I've heard a lot of particularly Chinese nationals coming up in here and buying up a lot of real estate property, using them as rentals for short term and sort of eschewing the rules, getting around things. And a lot of money to be made, but that's the whole point. These long-term residents is not supposed to do that.
What was that solution? Let's let them own 75% instead of 100%. What's that going to achieve?
I mean, well, if it's not 100% now, surely can't be.
What? No, foreigners can own condominiums 100%.
Well, yeah. Oh, so they only own 75% and the equity goes somewhere else.
If I didn't misread that, yeah.
I'm not entirely sure, but But it is a big problem. Even in my apartment complex, I've seen it where they post the signs everywhere. It's supposed to be no short-term rentals, and then every day I still see somebody in there not knowing how to do the key and do everything. I'm like,
guys, let's be come on. Who are we kidding here? It's not just Nana. It can be any area in Bangkok, guys. I mean, prostitution's illegal in Thailand, but even in my condominium, allegedly, after 10 p.m. You see a couple of people you've never seen before just sitting and waiting for someone to come pick them up downstairs, I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm not saying any things, but one has to just look within their environment.
This is something that I think that Thailand needs to revisit, because it is obviously a big part of the reputation here in Thailand. Legalizing sex work would go very far, I think.
There's no sex work here, Alex. Okay, please stop it.
One look at Nana, and I think we can disagree with that. But I think that would go a long way. Regulating it will make it safer for the participants that are in it. The government can get their pimp money. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work, but it would make it a safer environment, and people would just sort of know as it's above board. But my 2 cents.
I think the country would be happy with that. Imagine that if they tax 10% every time, legalize it and tax 10%. Oh my God, the amount of money they'd make.
Yeah, literally taxing that ass.
Quantity, not quality.
I'm dying.
Anyways.
Well, let's move on.
Wow.
I have some political news for us. Well, it's not supposed to be political because he's not supposed to be a politician anymore, but a Thai court has blocked Thaksin's travel request amid his legal battles. That's right. Former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra was denied permission to leave Thailand for an ASEAN meeting in Indonesia as the criminal court ruled his ongoing legal issues under the Lèse-Majesté law and Computer Crime Act provided insufficient justification for his departure. Thaksin, accompanied by his lawyer, made his request in court on March 6 but was rejected later that afternoon. Since returning from 15 years in exile, his legal troubles have fueled speculation about his political strategy. With this ruling, he remains in Thailand under government scrutiny, unable to attend the March 7th ASEAN meeting.
Oh.
How much influence does he actually have?
How much? I just met him, you know.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
on last weekend, on Sunday, I went to the Icons golf tournament.
Oh, he was there.
Yes, I was there. And the special guest was Thaksin. So Team England won, and then they brought Thaksin down to present the trophy, and I was a bit confused as to why they specifically chose Thaksin, but he looks in great health. Good.
That's so funny. I was hearing that there was like some big surprise guest. There was speculation it might even be Snoop Dogg because apparently he'd been there before.
No, it was Thaksin.
You get Thaksin instead. How exciting!
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. So whoever put out those rumblings was trying to hype things up a little bit, and then
everybody loves a good Thaksin moment, but you'd be very disappointed if you were waiting for Snoop.
Yeah. No, so don't get your hopes up, everybody. It would be great if he came up and started singing like Snoop songs.
Snoop Doggy Dogg. Yeah,
Thaksin, right. You got it.
Okay.
Anyways, stuck in Thailand for now, unfortunately.
All right. We're going to move on to our next story, which is talking about lifting a decades-old student hairstyle restriction. Good news for students in Thailand. Thailand's Supreme Administrative Court has annulled a decades-old rule restricting students' hairstyles, making a victory for personal freedoms in education. The regulation imposed in 1975 under a military order mandated short hair for boys and restricted girls from growing their hair past their ears. The court ruled it unconstitutional and misaligned with student welfare. The decision follows a 2020 petition by students challenging the rule. Schools now have autonomy over hairstyle policies, though concerns remain about resistance from traditionalist educators. This ruling signals a broader shift in Thailand's approach to personal freedoms in education. Almost no Westerner understood what I was talking about in that story, but yeah, for anybody who is as an adult looking at high school kids for some reason.
They might have children here going to schools.
Or they might have children, allegedly.
Look, this is a thing that I wanted to call a little bit of attention to because it's weird here in Thailand. Like even university students have to wear school uniforms, right? Like you see a lot of... this is a weird thing because where I come from, people can just sort of dress how they want to dress. I had blue hair in high school.
Look at what that's done to your country, Alex.
What has happened to us. But but it is an interesting thing that I think people don't understand, that it is still very conservative when it comes to the educational institutions. So this is a big move, allowing a little more autonomy to the individual institutions to make these decisions. I thought it was cool.
So for those of you unaware, girls always have like a bob cut that just below the ear, and then the boys have to kind of do like a military style haircut. And until they're like after high school, after you're 18, you can start having your own hairstyle apparently. Until then, that's a no-go.
Apparently that's changing. So interesting. Quick look at the comments. Kata says about Thaksin before, he may look in great health, but still way too sick for jail. Of course, obviously, Kasna, well said. And Tony Hussein says, there are lots of adults looking at high school students here in Patti.
Oh, yeah. Allegedly, of course, Tony, allegedly.
Yucky, Tony. All right, let's move on.
He said it.
Yeah, it was funny. Now, on to our A minor. Okay,
Autobots.
I'm done. Yes. This is our last story about Thailand really quick. I had to include this just because it's so weird and sheds a little bit of light on the distinct culture here in Thailand. But apparently a viral Optimus Prime creator clashes with a Bangkok bar over donations.
Oh, no.
What does this mean?
Yeah.
A Thai creator of a viral Optimus Prime figure named Sung clashed with a Bangkok bar called Hypnotized over a donation dispute. The bar gained attention after posting viral videos of offerings to the figure, sparking public worship and city intervention. Sung, who builds figures from spare engine parts, launched a donation campaign for 2 new creations. When Hypnotized declined to contribute, Sung erupted in anger, cursing staff and wishing misfortune upon them. Wow, old school. He later defended his reaction, claiming other businesses had donated without issue. The bar's owner has since apologized, but tensions remain.
Okay, hold on a second here. So that man started getting angry because the shop wouldn't donate to him?
Yeah, it feels like he flew off the handle for not a very good reason, particularly since they did do a lot to bring attention to it. They made these videos go viral, which probably helped his donation campaign in the first place, so the exposure was there. But yeah, talk about making enemies for no good reason, I think. Yeah. It is interesting that they did apologize, though. They felt bad.
I feel like I don't have enough information from that story, but last I knew, I thought donations were voluntary.
Indeed. Yeah. Stinking Rocket says it very well in the comments over here. Give me money for my hobby or I'll scream at you.
Yeah.
Pretty much. To be what the
pretty
thing
much
happened.
And like, unfortunately here, like, I guess in Thai culture, to the older you are, I mean, that did look like a more older gentleman, and maybe the owner of the restaurant was a bit younger, and a lot of the times, like, the younger Thai men and women will just let the older person rant. Whereas in other countries, you might not be able to get away with that kind of behavior.
Just let him get it out of his system, kind of thing. Yeah, fair enough.
It's like the police. You know, when you see like how the police are so calm with like that angry foreigner who's just like trying to punch them and like jump around, and they're like not shooting him. Yeah. It's the same thing.
I love it. It's like let the 3-year-old wear out his tantrum. He'll fall asleep soon, kind of thing. I think it's a great approach, Thailand. Good job. But also it highlights. Why is Thailand so obsessed with Optimus Prime? That's another question I have.
Who doesn't like a good Transformer?
I mean, yeah.
Autobots.
I guess. Like, I don't know. That was pretty good Optimus you did there.
Thank you.
But yeah, if you will notice, as you travel around Thailand, you will see Optimus Prime statues all over the place. So if you do see some... By the way, they leave... one of my favorite things about the story was, I read, they leave food and drinks and normal offerings. They also leave engine oil for the guys as an offering too. So,
is that Optimus Prime right opposite the shop or something?
I think so. It's nearby or something like that. Okay. So I don't know. They brought him attention, and yeah. Anyways, hopefully they'll chill out.
All right, we're gonna move on to some of our stories from around ASEAN. Going over to Hong Kong first, as the Hong Kong court overturns pro-democracy trio's convictions. Hong Kong's top court overturned the convictions of 3 former pro-democracy activists linked to the Tiananmen vigil, citing a lack of a fair trial. The court ruled that key evidence was redacted, preventing prosecutors from proving the alliance was a foreign agent. Despite the victory, activist Chow Hang Tung remains detained on separate subversion charges. Meanwhile, pro-democracy activist Tam Tak Chi's appeal against his 2022 sedition conviction was rejected, affirming a 40-month sentence for his slogans. Critics argue that Hong Kong's new security laws stifle dissent, while officials claims they are necessary for national security.
This is a big thing, obviously, since the takeover of Hong Kong in 1997. China had promised to keep their political systems in place for 50 years. That was part of the deal. But during COVID, they said, you know what, we're going to move up the schedule. So only about 25 years of that continuous rule. I've spent a lot of time in Hong Kong. And from everything that I've heard, I haven't been back recently. From everything I've heard, it's a bit more of a shadow of its former self. Because of these exact policies. But it is interesting to see that the court does still have some autonomy and was able to overturn some of these convictions, obviously still being held on other charges, these activists, but definitely freedom of speech is not what it was, and I think it's still very brave that many of these activists are still trying their best to bring attention to these things while still risking their freedom and their livelihoods. So, just a neat, interesting story and how things are playing out over there.
Yeah.
All right. Our final story of the day.
Okay.
I got to end this with a happy note where we are actually off to Vietnam. Now, Vietnam has seen a huge surge in tourism. But guess what?
What?
They still lag behind us here in Thailand.
Oh.
Vietnam welcomed about 4 million foreign visitors in the first 2 months of 2025, a 30% increase from last year, but still behind Thailand's 7 million arrivals. China, South Korea, and Taiwan were Vietnam's top sources of tourists, with the US and Japan closely following. The growth is attributed to relaxed visa policies, tourism promotions, and international awards. Vietnam aims to attract 23 million visitors this year, with Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh considering further visa exemptions for select nationalities and billionaires to boost tourism recovery. So, they're taking a page out of Thailand's book and trying to make sure that they're relaxing visa laws and allowing more nationalities to come in and spend that money, baby. So, it's a big thing for me. My dad has an office in Ho Chi Minh City, so I go to visit. And I will say, since I've been visiting, it has gotten easier as an American to go through. Obviously, you might remember, they weren't the biggest fans of Americans for a very long time.
Nobody likes Americans. Nothing's changed.
I went to an Agent Orange museum and I was like, oh, yeah, we suck. But they've eased those things up. And as a result, America is now the number 4 visiting country, even though it's so far away. So strategy's working, boost to the tourism, and the greater region is all going to benefit, I think.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those are some of the stories from across Thailand. You can find more stories on thetiger.com or join the conversation at
ASEANnow.com.
That's Thailand's largest forum.
Don't forget to follow us on subscribe here on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, wherever. We got all sorts of other content being published on those platforms that you don't see here on the channel. It'll be fun. It's fun, I promise.
And you will get unlimited power.
Yeah. Anyways, let's jump into the comments and see what everybody is saying.